Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Transformers Siege War For Cybertron Voyager class Optimus Prime. This figure is part of the first wave of this brand new War For Cybertron trilogy and is actually my first G1 inspired Optimus Prime that I have ever collected. As always, we'll take a quick look at the packaging and then we'll take a closer look at the figure himself. Taking a very quick look at the packaging, it is very different from any design we've ever got before. You've got the Transformers Siege logo on the base of the packaging, Transformers. You've got this almost singed effect over the Generations insignia, which is really cool. Optimus Prime, the side of the packaging has an image of the Autobots, and you've got the Ark escaping Cybertron, authentic Transformer with that same singed effect over the top. The back of the packaging is really cool. It's very technical. You've got an image of Optimus in his truck mode as well as his robot mode. You've got how you can incorporate some of the Battle Masters into the different weapons and how you can incorporate them onto the figure, which looks really nice. And finally, the other side of the packaging has some amazing artwork of Optimus on Cybertron. And finally, the top of the packaging just has an Autobot insignia as well as a Transformers War For Cybertron trilogy logo. And here we have Transformers Siege War For Cybertron Optimus Prime out of packaging. Now, I'm pleasantly surprised at this figure. Initially, I was very hesitant on collecting this line, as it seems that Hasbro and Takara seem to rinse and repeat the G1 aesthetic twice a year with a new Optimus Prime and a brand new Megatron. However, with the Bumblebee movie on the horizon and this Optimus looking very faithful to what we see in that movie trailer, I thought, why not hop on the bandwagon and pick up this figure? And to my surprise, I am extremely impressed with the overall quality of this figure. The plastic is really good, the articulation is really good, as well as the transformation. Starting off with detail first, as you can see, I think the head sculpt has been detailed and painted impeccably. You've got the silver mouth guard and the silver crest in the center of Optimus's forehead. You've also got some light blue painted eyes in order to make it look as if though he is alive. Moving down to the torso section, as you can see, I really like this chest section. You've got this transparent blue plastic behind the front of the chest section with loads of mechanical detailing, making him look really detailed. The torso section too has been detailed really nicely. You've got that grille section that is very reminiscent of G1 Optimus Prime with some white accents at the top of the chest. Moving down to the crutch section, as you can see, you too have got this very traditional orange paint application that we see on the majority of G1 inspired Optimus Prime figures. He does have this battle wear effect throughout the entire of his body. Initially, I wasn't too fussed about it, but in hand, I definitely do think it looks really nice. You've also got some of those Battle Master ports that we saw on the back of the packaging for you to apply the additional firearm effects. I may pick these up. I'm not entirely sure whether or not I'm going to go all out with this line and collect them all, but judging from this figure, I'm pretty sure I will. As you can see, the arm, he does have a fair amount of junk on the arms. However, in person, it doesn't look that obtrusive. He does have a slight backpack, which I do think could have been avoidable if they would have made this detach, or if they wouldn't have included this entire top section and given us a more traditional G1 looking truck. You've got the silver painted smokestacks, which looks really nice. Moving down to the leg section, as you can see, you've got a grey plastic base for the thigh sections with that metallic wash over the top to make him look really dirty. There are some different variations of grey in the battle damage. As you can see, on the right thigh is a lot lighter than on the left. Moving down to the shin sections of the figure, as you can see, there's not much in terms of paint application. It is just a blue and grey plastic, but nonetheless, it still looks really nice and has been detailed exceptionally well. I do really like the stylized aspect of the feet, and overall, I just think that this figure for detail looks really nice, and I'm thoroughly impressed with the overall aesthetic for this figure. Turning very quickly to articulation, this was another aspect that I was pleasantly surprised with. The head is on a ball joint, so you can have the head do the full 360-degree twist. You can also have him look down as well as nod side to side. The arms are on a variety of hinges. Due to transformation, you get this butterfly effect, allowing you to hinge them back and forth, which really helps for some dynamic poses when displaying the figure. This smokestack section here lifts up, allowing the arm to lift all the way upwards, like so. You also have a full 360-degree rotation at the shoulder section, as well as a full 360 bicep articulation joint. The arms bend just above 90 degrees, allowing for a wide range of motion. The wrists too have got swivel joints, so you can rotate them a full 360 degree there. There is also a 360-degree spin at the waist, which is really nice, especially in getting him in some of those war-ready dynamic battle poses. The legs can kick forwards that far as well as back this far. They can also hinge out to the sides and do the full splits. There's also a swivel joint in there as well. Just above the knee section, there is another swivel joint there, and the knees do bend way over 90 degrees. It's almost like a double knee joint. And finally, the feet have got this really dynamic ankle pivot joint, which just allows you to get him in some very dynamic poses. So overall, for articulation, I could not have asked for more in a Voyager class scaled figure. Turning very quickly to accessories, Optimus does come with two, the first of which is a battle axe that can transform into a shield. As you can see, this battle axe looks really nice, and you can definitely tell that it is a shield. You've got the sharper end of the blade there with the lower end there. You've got a nice printed Autobot insignia. This whole center section has been picked out in a silver paint application. You've also got a variety of these pegs, which, as I stated earlier, are for the Battle Master. Turning the axe around, you do just have unpainted black plastic. It would have been nice if they could have applied some of that battle damage effect that we've seen throughout the figure, but nonetheless, it's a really nicely sculpted in axe. It can be held in Optimus's hand via this peg, which does just plug into his hand. Now, in order to turn this into his shield, you have to first fold down this section all the way in, and then fold up this section. You then take this and lift it all the way upwards, and that peg there will plug into this tab here. So just plug that in, and there you've got Optimus's shield. It's very basic in terms of its aesthetic, and it's not as large as the shield should be, but nonetheless it is a nice feature, and it does just plug onto Optimus's arm. So you do have the option of having Optimus with either a shield or with a battle axe. Finally, the second accessory that Optimus comes with, and his more iconic accessory, is this ion blaster. Now, we've seen this with many Optimus Primes, and it is done in a really nice black plastic. There are no paint applications whatsoever on this, which is a slight shame. I would have liked it if they could have perhaps scuffed it up with some mud or some silver paint applications to make it look as if though it is worn, but it is fairly detailed in its sculpt and definitely does the trick. It does just insert into Optimus's arm as per you would expect, so just line the peg up and plug it in, and there is Optimus with his very iconic ion blaster, looking really cool. For a quick size comparison, here is the Voyager class Siege Optimus compared to the Studio Series Voyager Optimus, Deluxe class Ratchet, and the new Siege Voyager Megatron. As you can see, he is roughly in the same scale as the Studio Series, so just comparing him to this Optimus Prime, he is more or less the exact same height as this figure. So he is a slightly smaller Voyager class figure, as this Optimus is a fairly smaller figure, but he is definitely in keeping with nice scale when compared to his wave mate, the Siege Megatron. Overall for scale, I personally like it, and he does definitely look like a Voyager class figure. Now, turning to the transformation of the figure, first of all, I just want to show you the instruction manual. This for me has been one of the most difficult instruction manuals to read, as the pictures are extremely dark and you can't really get a real sense of where the different parts are going. As you can see, the red pieces are what you're meant to be moving, but they're almost exactly the same colour as the grey, and in hand, if you've got a bright light over the top of this, it's really going to be very difficult for you to see the different parts and how they move. So that's my main gripe with the instruction manual, and especially as this figure has quite an involved transformation. Following these instructions definitely took me a lot longer than I would have expected them to, but nonetheless they do the trick, but they're definitely not the best instruction manual that I've ever had to follow. Turning to the transformation, you want to bend the arms so that they're in a near enough 90-degree pose. You're then going to want to come around to the back and lift this entire back section upwards like so, as well as rotating it around, and just keep it sitting just like that. What you're then going to want to do is take these thighs and rotate them so that the back is now facing the front section. You are then going to want to take this and lift this upwards and fold this piece all the way around, just like so. Repeat the exact same process on this side, tab it in just like so. You're then going to want to take the wheels and bring them all the way around so that they're now on the opposite sides, and then you are going to want to take these sections here and just tab them together just like that, so that you are left with something along the lines of this. You're more than likely going to want to leave these out just to allow for some clearance when you work on the top section of the figure. Turning the figure around, you now want to lift these sections upwards. Now, I would actually advise not tabbing those in and pulling these sections up first, as I had enormous difficulty upon first transforming this figure in getting these pieces out with the legs tabbed, as essentially you need to reach in this section which is covered when you tab these legs together. Once those pieces have been pulled up, then I would recommend tabbing these sections in. The feet too do tab as well. You're then going to want to collapse the feet, so to do so you just take the toes and the heel spur and just flop them down just like so. Repeat the same process on that side so that you're left with something that looks along the lines of this. You're then going to want to essentially snap the figure in half, so this piece here will come away and you'll be able to rotate that all the way around, all the way backwards, so that you're left with something that looks like this. Turning your attention to the arms now, you're going to want to rotate this piece outwards so that it is facing the front section. Repeat the same process on this side. You're then going to want to take these arms and send them backwards. Now, this is where things may get a little bit chaotic, as you do want to avoid bumping into this top section. So just fold that section back and repeat the same process on this side. You're then going to want to take these wheels and pull them down. So I just pull them down like so, so that you have enough clearance to work on this whole piece here. You're then going to want to lift this piece up just like that. Bring these sections out just like so, and lift this grey piece all the way outwards so that it is sitting flush with this piece. You'll then want to split open this section here, and you can recreate that scene where Optimus opens his chest and reveals his matrix, only to find that there is no matrix in there. Fold the head into the matrix chamber, just like so. Come to these arms here and lift these pieces upwards, just like that. These will actually peg into sections here. So take these arms, you want to keep these sections here, and then swivel the arms in, just like so, and tab them into place. As you can see, there is a tab in there that will plug into this slot on his arm. So just repeat the same process on this side. What you'll then want to do is take this entire cab section, fold it down, and then try and move all this piece here out of the way and line this up like so. As you can see there are some slots that this piece here will tab into. So just make sure you've got all the clearance that you need and tab those sections in on both sides. You can then tab this section into the top just like that. Make sure that the top of the cab is sitting flush. You can now fold in the front windows. You can then take the wheels and click them into place just like so. And then finally take this section here. As you can see, there is a little blue peg that will plug into this red tab here. Line that up and tab that in. And there you have Optimus Prime in his Cybertronian truck mode, looking really, really awesome. Now, as I've stated throughout the video, the transformation is extremely involved and extremely pleasant to actually go through. It is enjoyable to transform the figure from both robot to vehicle and then vehicle to robot. And the truck and robot mode look great. Look at this truck mode, it's extremely stylistic. I really like the colour cues in this. The transparent blue plastic looks really cool and definitely does look like something I would expect to appear on Cybertron. These sections here look as if though they are almost like fuel intakes, so that when Optimus is driving, he sucks through the air and distributes it out of the smokestacks at the back just to increase his overall speed. So I'm a massive fan of how detailed this entire front section looks. As you can see, the grille piece that we saw in the robot mode isn't actually here, but the detailing is extremely similar, and it has now been covered in this almost turquoise blue ocean looking type of plastic. You've got some nice detailing, such as the turbines on the base of the truck mode. All the wheels have been picked out in a silver paint, despite you actually not being able to see them all at one time. So that's definitely a really nice inclusion. Autobot insignia does appear on the side of the truck, and the smokestacks too have been picked out in a silver paint. As you can see, the trailer hitch section clears up fairly nicely. It is rather a long truck. I would have preferred it if it maybe was a little bit squat, but seeing as this is Optimus's Cybertronian alt mode, it definitely does go in keeping with this almost alien-esque type of vibe. As you can see, he's really, really nicely painted. And overall, this is just a really nice looking truck mode. In terms of weapon storage, once you convert the battle axe into a shield, the peg on the battle axe does just plug into this section here. So that's really cool that Hasbro and Takara have engineered in some weapon storage. And as for the ion blaster, it does just plug onto the top, just like this, in order to give him some kind of battle mode. Turning to a quick size comparison, here is the Voyager class Siege Optimus compared to the Revenge of the Fallen Studio Series Starscream. As you can see, the Revenge of the Fallen Studio Series Starscream is slightly longer than this Optimus Prime. However, this is a fairly large Voyager. We're comparing it to a deluxe class such as Ratchet. As you can see, I do think the scale works really well, and he is a fair amount larger than a deluxe class alt mode. One thing to quickly add, which isn't mentioned anywhere on the instruction manual, is that Optimus actually does have a third mode. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether or not this is official. However, the way that the figure has been molded makes me believe that it actually is. If you turn the figure underneath, as you can see, you do have these slight tabs here, which when you detach the wheels, those tiny little slots will actually peg into. Now, this has nothing to do with the robot mode nor the truck mode, and is merely here for what I believe is Optimus's third mode, and that is a hover mode. Now, you also take these wheels at the back and unpeg them as well and have them dangle. They don't actually have a place to tab, unlike these wheels at the top, which does appear to be some kind of hover alt mode. And now this looks really cool, and it's definitely not very far-fetched, as I can definitely imagine Optimus having this kind of alt mode when traveling around on Cybertron. And due to the way that this whole section here has been molded, I definitely do think that this was Hasbro's and Takara's intention all along. Why they didn't include it on the instruction manual, I have no idea, but it's definitely a very nice third alt mode. So overall, what do I think of the brand new Transformers Siege War for Cybertron Optimus Prime? Personally, I really like it. It's a massive surprise to me, as personally I didn't necessarily think I would like this figure due to it being more simplified in design when compared to some of the Studio Series figures. However, I was completely wrong. The details are really nice. I really like the overall articulation of the figure, and the transformation is extremely involved, and it's almost as involved as some of those Studio Series figures. Very soon. I really like this figure's truck mode as well. It's very stylized, definitely in keeping with the overall design of the War for Cybertron kind of video games that we saw. So it's a really nice looking figure. I highly recommend. I hope that you enjoyed this review. If you did, please let me know down in the comment section below. And until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.